If you make a really good product, people won't have to roast it. It's a very simple concept that a lot of developers don't seem to understand these days, and Highguard was recently unveiled, wrecked by gamers, and the developers are now freaking out over the backlash. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I completely understand not every single game can be a massive success. Not every single game can be a major win, but we can tell what has passion put into it and what was just thrown together based on a company's expectations of dollars. They just want to make money, which I don't necessarily blame them for, but they still need to provide us with a cool, high quality experience, and that looks like the opposite of Highguard. Highguard really looks like they threw Apex Legends, Titanfall, Valorant, and maybe even a little bit of Overwatch into a pot, cooked it up, and said, here's your slop, enjoy your serving. It just doesn't look special at all whatsoever, and it reminds us all of a lot of other games that have recently come out, like Concord, Marathon's upcoming launch, and apparently the developers are not taking all of this criticism very well. I get that when you put a lot of time and effort into something, you want it to come out and be successful, but sometimes you just need to take a step back from social media and protect your public image. So Josh Sobel here is a lead tech artist at Wildlight Entertainment who is now making Highguard, which, by the way, developers need to stop putting guard in their games. Veilguard, Highguard, they never work out, but he said, day one of being a game dev with a public-facing game, and I got 75 plus quote retweets personally ripping me apart simply for being excited to share what I poured myself into for years, locked the account for the time being, and he only locked it for, I suppose, a day, because it says he posted it on December 13th at 11:41 a.m., but then December 13th, he also said, I'm back, so it sounds like he was just fishing for some attention, and hey, I guess he's getting it now. Congratulations, man. Though, I understand. It's not one single person's fault for the direction a game was taken in. It's not one single person's fault if a game looks like it's bad, but at the same time, you need to be more aware of the industry, be more aware of what customers are looking for, and ultimately, you need to be aware that when you have a public-facing game, as he calls it, which, by the way, every single game is public-facing because you're not making a game just for yourself, you're making it for the public's consumption, you are going to face criticism, and it's like every single developer now needs to go through PR courses because you are representing a company. You are representing a product, and sure, I get that you're still going to have your own opinions, but in this case, it seems like he was just having a meltdown because he wasn't being praised for the way that this game looked right off the bat. I mean, clearly there are hundreds of thousands of people who think that this just doesn't look good. The IGN upload has 344,000 views. It's got 4K likes and 43,000 dislikes, and it's like they said, ChatGPT, generate a hero shooter with fantasy elements, and this sucks. We've seen this time and time again. People don't like it, and you need to understand where customers are coming from, and instead of actually, I don't know, responding to genuine criticism, he's only responding to people that are saying, oh man, I'm so sorry, those mean gamers are calling you out. And it's not like we expect much from these people, but there's no examples of these quote-unquote personal attacks. They don't actually prove that this was happening. They didn't hide any replies on this post either. I personally am led to believe that they are just, ultimately fishing for attention, which is what all of these developers do nowadays. Somebody even asked, are the tweets personally ripping you apart, or are they criticizing the project that doesn't look particularly appetizing? And he says, nope, most of them are personal attacks for setting mental health boundaries, aka setting a tweet to friends-only replies to limit the insults popping up on my phone all day. You know what you could do? Is walk away from social media. You could put the phone down. You could log out of your X account. You could log out of your Blue Sky account. You could just go about your day like normal, because all you're doing by sitting here and on one day in the morning saying you're locking the account, and on the same day in the evening posting you're back, it just makes you look like you're fishing for attention, and maybe he really didn't mean for it to appear that way. I'm gonna go out on a limb though and say he was looking for a little bit of toxic positivity. He was looking for his peers to pat him on the back, which I think is hilarious. This post by Pirate Nation got quite a bit of attention, and it shows the Concord trilogy image of Concord, Marathon, and Highguard, which, yeah, it seems like a trifecta of slop, but lots of gamers are saying these people are way too proud all the time and are unable to handle any form of criticism. Overwatch only succeeded because every guy wanted to plow Tracer. The industry has been trying to recreate Overwatch ever since, while refusing to accept that simple fact. Dear gaming industry, the customer controls their purchasing power, not you. If they want to compare games to others, that's their prerogative. Sincerely, every single gamer. And I completely agree with this. It's fine to criticize. It is fine to say it looks bad, and developers should not be taking that so personally. It would be fine if they wanted to come out and say, well, technically, this element is different, that element is different, here's how our game is unique. Okay, because that actually seems like they want to have a conversation about it, but that's not what they're doing. They're just saying, oh my gosh, everybody's being so mean to me and personally attacking me, and so I need to lock my account down and fish for attention. Concord was a fine game that you chuds just couldn't appreciate because you were too bigoted, but don't you dare compare our game to it. Is going to be a very fun cope over the next 10 years. Maybe they shouldn't have made Concord 2 then. Reminds me of when Cliffy B was pushing Lawbreakers and got annoyed at the constant Overwatch comparison. Shouldn't have made Anti-Gravity Overwatch then, Cliff. This image, I 100% agree, is gold. It just highlights how AAA developers are all following the same formula. They're all creating the same types of games in certain genres. And yeah, right now we're having to deal with like Magitech, hero shooters, games that really don't look aesthetically pleasing. And again, titles that are throwing everything at the wall and hoping that it sticks, which I can't think of an instance where that's actually worked out successfully. Even the name Highguard is a knockoff of Overwatch. High equals over, guard equals watch. They didn't even try to do anything original. 2 or 3 devs working for this studio have listed in their About Us that they've worked on Concord, so they should be embracing the parallel. I don't know, man, we should give these guys a chance since they're not under some big company anymore. Or am I missing something from this drama? Yes, the fact that the game just doesn't look good. I give developers a little bit of credit for breaking off from the mainstream and creating their own title. Even if I think the idea of it is terrible, I would rather them create something new than completely destroy an existing series. But I can only give them so much credit because if their game is bad, at the end of the day, their game is bad. It's somehow comforting knowing that game devs are keeping the legacy of Concord alive. I want the memory of it to live on for generations, never forget. And I do actually think that Highguard is going to be a little bit more successful than Concord, because Concord had a $40 buy-in fee, and I think if it was free, more people would have downloaded it and played it just for the memes. And in Highguard's case, it is going to be free to play. So I think people will jump in just to see if it is actually that bad. What's the worst they're going to do? Waste a few hours and a couple gigs and they can uninstall the game once they're done playing. But I still don't think that this is going to come out and be a smashing success. And the fact that the developers now are angry at players calling their game Concord 2 and really just coming out and criticizing their game, yeah, it doesn't look that good for them. So I'll be keeping my eye on this situation. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.